our sponsor, Parati's Quality Meats, located in Cranford, New Jersey, serving customers all over New Jersey for the past 50 years. Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Coach's Talk presented by the Shore Football Report. And tonight we have the head football coach at Middletown North Lions, Coach Steve Bush. Coach, thanks for coming on the show today.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Coach, I mean, I've been a big fan of you from years. When I was at Lacey, we played you guys, and I was just in awe of a young coach watching your schemes and your mannerism on the sidelines and watching you grow as a coach and all your stops. And I didn't even realize all the stops that you had in 39 years as a football coach from high school, college, and NFL, man. Do you ever look back and say, I'm coaching and I got the greatest job in the world?
Yeah, I mean, I love what I do. It's my passion, and it's been fun going all different places and seeing all different levels, and can be a little tough on the family things, but
it is.
It was a great ride, and I appreciate.
I'm sure it is, man. You're still going after it. The only thing is, when we talk in the NFL, I wish you coached for the New York Jets. I'm a big Jet fan. But so those are the only two games I was never rooting for you when you were playing us there. But let me just introduce you, Coach, and let me kind of embarrass you a little bit because there's a lot of great things here to talk about. Coach Steve Bush is currently the Middletown North head football coach in his 9th season. In 2017, you took your team to the state finals. You lost to Sayreville at Rutgers. It was Rutgers, right?
Correct.
Yeah, that was a great football team, and that was a great football season you had that year. Prior to that, you were with the Miami Dolphins in the NFL, an assistant for 4 years. You were a quality control coach, an assistant quarterback, and a receiver coach, right? With coaching now NFL guys that were making a little bit more money than you and I, right?
Absolutely.
I love to hear you talk about that later on, about your NFL experience. And you were Coach Tony Sperano, correct?
Correct.
Awesome. Great. Then before that, you were at West Genesee High School as a head football coach for 3 years. You won a state championship and a division title there, and that's in New York. Before that, you were at Syracuse as a defensive back coach and a quarterbacks coach for 5 years with Coach Pasqualoni, correct?
Correct.
That's awesome. That is awesome. And now, this is where I get confused. Your fifth, before that, you were at Manalapan for 7 years, right?
Right.
That's where I knew you. From 93 to 99. For 7 years, you were there. You won 3 division championships. You did a really great job there. And then before that, you were at Longmano High School as a head football coach in Massachusetts for 3 years. And the great thing about what you did there, you had a 22-game winning streak. That's amazing. Now they have a Super Bowl, which is equivalent to a state championship there, right? And you won 2 division championships there. So I love to hear that when you talk about your process too. Before that, you were at Boston University as a defensive coordinator, secondary coach for 2 years. Before that, you were at University of New Haven as the defensive coordinator and linebacker coach for 2 years. Two years before that, you were at Springfield College as the defensive coordinator and secondary coach. And then where you started out as a grad assistant and secondary coach for 2 years, you were at Southern Connecticut. Is it University or University of Southern Connecticut?
Yeah, it's a state university.
That is, Coach, wow. That is amazing. All those stops and all the connections that you must have that led you to all these different places. An interesting story. You've been very successful, of course, in the Shore Conference, but looking at your resume and talking about it, you've been at many stops, not just the Shore Conference, and us Shore Conference fans would love to hear about it today. So that leads us to the process. And in the process, Coach, we want to hear about how you became the head football coach at Middletown North, but all the stops that led to it, right? What got you interested in football? There must have been somebody out there, and all the stops that you came along that helped you bring all your experience to Middletown North to their successful program, Coach. So please tell us a little bit about your process of all your stops, your resume.
Sure. Well, I played in Ridge High School up in Central Jersey, and my father was my football coach. He was the head football coach there, which was, a little tough sometimes, but it was also something that we could always share. And, he used to show me a lot of things he was doing when I was younger. And so I always loved the game, and I knew I wanted to stay involved in it, and went on and played at Southern Connecticut, and then wanted to stay there and be a grad assistant under Kevin Gilbride, who had a long career in the NFL as well. So I stayed there and coached there for 2 years, and then we tried to move up the ladder. So you got to kind of keep moving. And I went to Springfield College for 2 years and was defensive coordinator there, and then took a job at University of New Haven. Chris Palmer became the head coach there, and he had been in the Canadian League at the time. He later went on to coach for a long time in the NFL. So I knew he was a Southern Connecticut grad, and I knew him a little bit, and knew that program was going in the right direction. So I wanted to get involved in that, and he hired me on. And we did well our first 2 years at New Haven, and then he got the head job at Boston University, and brought me up there with him, which was full scholarship school in the Yankee Conference then, and I was young and defensive coordinator, secondary coach, and enjoying that. But then at that time, I had 4 kids already, and by the time I was 30, and like 3 in diapers, and I decided to get out of the college game and get into high school coaching, where I could be home more and watch my kids grow up. I didn't want to miss out on that. Usually, when you do that, you can't get back in, and I knew that at the time. It's such a competitive field. But I felt that was the right thing to do. So I went to Longmeadow, Mass, and coached there for 3 years. And we over the last 2 years we won 22 games in a row, and had a good run, and won what they call the Super Bowl there. And at the time, Massachusetts was kind of a mess financially, and it was pay to play for the kids, and they were giving pink slips to a lot of teachers. So I wanted to come down into. I used to recruit down in the Jersey Shore, and I was always really liked it. And being close to the beach in the area, I thought was great, and football was good. And so I was looking around for that. And Bill Ruddy, who was at Jackson one time, told me about the Manalapan job, and so I got involved with that and took that job and was there for 7 years. And then Coach Pasqualoni, the head coach of Syracuse, called me and gave me an opportunity to come in and coach a secondary for a year. He had been my position coach at Southern Connecticut, and I had worked up at their camp for years. I used to bring my whole team up there and things too, and I knew their whole staff really well. So it was a great opportunity there, and my daughter ended up going to Syracuse there. My youngest son ended up being the ball boy there, and and he had a great time doing all that. And
Coach, were you there when Donovan McNabb was there? No,
I came after Donovan McNabb. But we had 1 year we won 10 games and won a bowl game at Kansas State out in Arizona. So it was we did well every year, and that was the Big East time, when it was Miami, West Virginia, Pitt, BC. Virginia Tech, and it was Rutgers and Temple were all in there too. So it was really challenging, and Syracuse was a tough place to recruit, but Coach P did a great job there. And then, our AD retired, and a new AD came in and wanted to make a big splash, and ended up firing Coach Pasqualoni, and that program hasn't been the same since. No. And, they've gotten a little better over the last couple of years, but it really struggled for a while. So when the head coach goes, they want to bring in all their own guys to the new coach. So I had 2 of my kids were still in high school and up there, and it was a great place to grow up and go to school, and I wanted them to finish up there. So I took a high school job in the area at West Genesee. Ended up coaching against my youngest son at the time, and we were both kind of competing to get in the playoffs then. Wow, that was a tough one. Yeah. We won that game, and I had a pit in my stomach going across the field, after winning the game. I never felt like that before. So, but it was a great opportunity there, and we did well, and ended up getting our 3rd year. We won the state championship, where we had to win 6 playoff games to do it. They played all the way down to 1 winner. So, and we played that in the Carrier Dome there. So then Tony Sperano, who I'd coached with at New Haven and Boston University, he just got the head job with the Miami Dolphins. He had been with the Cowboys, and he called me and offered me a position to come in as assistant quarterback coach and quality control. And I did that for a year, and then I also started helping being an assistant receiver coach, and then ended up becoming the receiver coach there my last year there. So we were there 4 years, and we won a division conference division title their first year there. It was the biggest turnaround in the NFL at the time. They hadn't won any games, and we won 11 that following year. Mm-hmm. But then, we had a bad year in my fourth year there, and they made it. NFL, they say, is not for long, and so Tony got fired, and subsequently, kind of lost their jobs there. And I hadn't been in long enough to really get connected enough in the NFL to kind of get recycled, which mm-hmm. a lot of those guys do. They go from one team to the other. So I decided to, I was kind of tired of bouncing around and give my wife a break a little bit and stay in one place. And, we figured out where we want to live. And I wanted to come back into the shore and be close to the beach and close to a lot of family and kind of settle down a little bit. So came here, and I've really been enjoying it since, and keep going.
That's great, Coach. That's I always tell everybody that was on here that football is football no matter what level you're doing. It could be youth football. It could be a girls' sport. I believe football, coaching's coaching. Now, you've been at 3 levels, high school, college, and NFL. If there's anybody that can compare it, it's you. What is the difference or the similarities that you could say from a high school, college, and NFL? Are there some similarities when you're coaching your schemes?
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think that football is still football, and the kids compete and want to win, and no matter what level you're at. And, I've taken things from that we did in the NFL, and we incorporated them into our system in the high school, and the kids can handle that. And just, may not have the speed and size and things that mm-hmm. they have, but, it's kind of all relative. And, it was a great opportunity to coach at those levels. The biggest difference is that, just all the fanfare and the big stadiums and all that. And, a lot of everything was kind of in the NFL was the best of the best, from your facilities to your travel to the players mm-hmm. to your other coaches. And it was really a neat experience.
Now, do you ever coach any NFL players that forgot their plays like you do in high school, like we always do, Coach?
Yeah, there's pressure on those guys not to forget. They can lose their job quickly, and that happens. If they're not a smart player, they're going to struggle, and they to stay in the NFL. So they've got a lot to learn, and they go fast, and they've got to kind of stay with it, and they work at it. Because they know they need to.
Yeah.
But you have so much more meeting time. That's probably one of the biggest differences. It's an all day affair. So as opposed to high school where you have a limited amount of time to work with the kids, mm-hmm. There's so much more meeting time and preparation time and off season things that you can do that it helps.
Now, Coach, with all the stops you've been at, do you run your high school program almost like one of those type of college or NFL experience atmospheres, or do you reduce it a little bit?
I think we had to adjust it a little bit, but a lot of this I took things from every place I've been at, and took things from other coaches that I worked with and things, and tried to incorporate that. And I think the high school game is different, and there's kids playing for, they want to have fun. You want to make it a positive experience. Mm-hmm. It's not the high pressure that maybe you have at some of those upper levels. And you have your assistant coaches that you're not able to meet as much with them as they do. They have families, and they're doing it for, they love it, but it's not their livelihood like it is in these other places. Mm-hmm. So, you have to understand that and work with that. And, my coach has been good, but, go home at night, and you can now with huddle and things too. It's a lot better where you can do that. So
That's nice, Coach, that you can adapt coaching football to different levels. I mean, when you're in the NFL, people think that it's so high, sophisticated stuff, college, and then you got high school because you're coaching kids that are 13, 14 years old, and then you're coaching guys as old as maybe in their mid 40s in the NFL. Big age difference right there. So, I mean, you've really brought in your college, coaching the last 39 years, man. You gotta be proud of it, huh?
yeah, it's been great. I've enjoyed it all the way through. At every level, and like I said, football is football, so it's just different and a little less pressure than you have at the upper levels, but it was
A
also
little bit, right?
very, very exciting at the upper levels
You
too.
still get the same butterflies, though, no matter if you're coaching high school or if you're
Yeah,
coaching the
absolutely.
NFL,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and you prepare kind of the same way and get yourself ready and get the team ready, and um, you know, it's nice. I think the atmosphere on a Friday night high school football game is great too, and then, you get the people from town come out and their friends and family and all around there, and it's exciting.
All right, now, Coach, we're going to talk COVID, but we're not going to talk negative, just positive. Now, in your 39 years, you never were prepared for life wearing a mask ever. Nobody prepared you in college, in the NFL, or especially the high school that the season we just had with the COVID. Just tell me something positive that you and your program have learned playing in the COVID.
I think our kids did a great job of dealing with adversity, and we talk about that, and it's one of the things you can take away, in life experiences, and kind of transfer that what you learned in football into life experiences, and the kids had to adjust every day, and it was the practice schedule and system that we ran throughout the summer drastically changed. I mean, no locker rooms and no in-person meetings and a very limited preseason. So we couldn't, to install our things, we had to go so much faster and do less. And, and they changed our schedule and kind of threw us into probably the toughest division in the shore, where we're playing the top teams in the shore every week. So, that was tough. And, I think our kids, they never complained, and they just did what they had to do each day, did whatever we asked them to do, and came out and competed against those teams. And I think some of our younger guys that played for us last year, gained some valuable experience playing against teams at that level that I think that will help us going into this year.
Coach, would you agree on this? Us football coaches, we all were talking the off season during the COVID. We didn't care about all the obstacles. We just wanted to get to a season going. So it was a very unique season in terms of nobody complained of who they were playing because there was COVID, and then you would just play the next team over. We just wanted to play the game that we all loved, right?
Absolutely. And we were happy, and I think the kids were happy that we were able to get a season, and where a lot of people, weren't able to do that. And, we got 6 games in, and, you knew that it could stop at any time. And we were really happy that we were able to get that done.
Yeah, hopefully we never have to do this again. Okay, now, Coach, 2021 Middletown North High School football schedule on the left. I want you to talk a little bit about that. And then when you're done, we'll talk about the newly formed Independence Division that bunched a bunch of different teams together, forming a division. Go ahead, Coach, your floor.
So I think we got a tough division. Everybody be well coached and have had a lot of success in the past. So we're just going to kind of take it game by game and see what everybody's got. It's hard to tell going into the season how everybody's going to be, because it's last year was a very different season, and and then every year your high school teams change because you graduate kids, and kids some kids get bigger and stronger and step in and fill holes, and and then injuries, I think, play a big part because of just depth or lack of. If you get a couple key kids hurt, that it can change things quite a bit. So I don't think you can ever know going into the season exactly what you're going to get, and how it's going to go. You just got to kind of take it game by game.
Yeah, Coach?
Yes.
Yes, you hit it right in the head. Last year, you couldn't tell a lot about teams because the COVID affected everybody differently. You had guys that were out. Maybe some districts weren't allowed to do certain things more than others. So it's tough to gauge a team coming back opposed to a team that that you might know a lot about. Though the COVID really puts a little monkey wrench into preparation of knowing more about the other team, right?
Absolutely. We just have to kind of take it one game at a time, and watch the film of who they got this year,
Mm-hmm.
and see what we can do.
I'm sure they're saying the same thing about you guys too. They don't know too much about you, or maybe they do because you've been coaching for so long. A lot of film out there, Coach.
Yeah.
That's a very tough schedule. Yes. Now the bottom game is very unique. That you guys still have that Thanksgiving Day game with Middletown South after a state championship game, correct?
Correct. Yeah, that's a big deal in Middletown. And people really love that, having that Thanksgiving tradition,
Mm-hmm.
and they're nobody's ready to give that up yet. So we're gonna keep playing that, and it is a neat situation, and like a lot of people come out for that game, and they honor the seniors, and the players, the cheerleaders, the band, everything. So there's a lot of pomp and circumstance before the game, and it's a neat thing on Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah, and it's almost equivalent to a college bowl. It's the build up at the end of the year,
Mm-hmm.
playing a rival school and and
Mm-hmm.
and getting ready for the next year, Coach. Now, looking on the right hand side, the newly formed Independence Division. It's kind of unique because every year our coaches like, what's the name of our division now called? It's
Right.
not the A South, B South, and they put it, how they do it. I'm not sure how they actually assemble the divisions, but that's who you have right now, and you have a bunch of competitive teams all in one. Now, you did your division last year was pretty rough. Now you're in a division with some Ocean County teams and with Howell. From top to bottom, this is a tough division to pick. It really is from a media standpoint.
Yeah, yeah, I think so too. I think that anybody. I think all these teams can be very good, and good sized schools, and with some good coaches, and had some great tradition at some of these schools, and um, so we'll just have to see. I think everybody will be pretty good. It's going to be a challenge, I think, each week.
You probably have a better chance of picking the Kentucky Derby 1 to 5 order than picking the Independence Division, Coach, because
Right.
top to bottom, knowing who your program and what you got, and knowing those programs what they have and their tradition, it's going to be a tough battle every single week. And as a football coach, that's probably the only thing you can ask for is your team to be competitive and be in those games that people are talking about every week.
Right. Just kind of finding a way to win in the fourth quarter.
All right, now, Coach, can you name your football coaching staff, which is the glue to your program, which is the glue to everybody's program, is what those guys, they make us head football coaches look good. So let's tell us a little bit about your assistant football coaches.
I think we've got a very good staff now. We've been together for a few years now. We had a couple of young guys that came on a couple of years ago, and now I think they're very comfortable with what we're doing, and the whole system and how we do it, and they do a great job. So Jeff Massimini is our defensive coordinator, and he's been with me the whole time I've been at North, and does a very good job and very committed. Works really hard at it. And Randy Kalman has been with me kind of almost right through the beginning as well. And he coaches our wide receivers, and helps me with the defensive backs. It helps and kind of coordinates our special teams. Justin Bloss came with us a couple of years ago. He played at Manalapan, and he's coaches our offensive line and helps with the defensive line, and has done a really good job. He's a good young coach. And Justin McGee came with us the same time Justin Bloss came in, and he works with our works with the defensive line this year, and helping out with the offensive line, and he's also kind of helping with the running backs. We had Larry McKnight was another long-time coach in the Shore that was volunteered for years at Middletown, did a great job, and he had a step down this year, but I think he's going to come around game days and help us out. But he had a job that's not going to allow him to do that anymore. I've got another young guy, Justin Muller, be come out to kind of help fill his position. Played for me about 4 years ago, and our two freshman coaches are Dana Webster and Michael Brandow, and they do a good job keeping the kids interested, and then helping them get ready to come up to the next level.
Coach, I've noticed you kept saying we have a younger guy and a younger guy. Now, you being an experienced coach of 39 years, when you bring younger guys in, do you feel like it juices up, your staff and also yourself too, just bringing some youth into your coaching offices?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's good. You have some younger guys that are really good with the kids, and we got a kind of a good mixture, I think, on our staff, from me being the old guy, and then some guys in between, and then a couple of young guys. And our staff really gels together very well. Everybody gets along great, and we got a good, vibe or relationship amongst the group. Everybody feels comfortable with one another, and I think that's important.
Yeah, those young guys do a lot for the program. And I remember I would come home and my wife would be like, "Why do you have your hat on backwards?" And I never do that, but I was hanging out with the 23-year-old young guys, and I kind of have to
Yeah.
put it in, but they make me feel young, those guys, and also, of course, being with the players too, Coach. That's nice, man.
I think if I could say one more thing about those guys, I think they're all very good coaches and they work hard at it, but they all care about the kids, and they do a really good job, with the kids, and I think that really shows through.
Okay, now, Coach, let's talk Middletown North Lions football for this season, 2021. But before you go on, can you just tell everybody what you guys run schematically, offensively, defensively, and let's hear a little bit about your key returning starters for this season.
Sure, we're a spread offense, but we're pretty multiple. We're primarily in 11 personnel with one tight end, and some 12 with two tight ends. But we kind of live in those personnel groupings generally, but we can get into quite a variety of formations and kind of take advantage of the players' skills and what they can do best, and try to put them in the best position to have success. So within that system, it's going to change a little bit each year, depending on what we're good at, kind of, and what suits our kids. Defensively, we're a 3-3 stack team, and for the last couple of years, and I think that they can pose some problems for opposing teams. They don't see it as much in things too, and able to get some pressure in and get people movement, and try to use some less big defensive linemen that we don't always have, and have some more guys that can run around and get after it.
Now let's hear some of these great players that I'm hearing about, because I talk to high school coaches all over, and I say, who are the top players around? And they've mentioned a couple of your players, Coach, and you got some players, and with your experience, I'm excited to hear about them.
Yeah, I think we've got a good group coming back. I'll start with our quarterback, Tommy Giannone, who started last year for us, and he's a 6'6" kid who's still filling out, but he got a little faster this year too, and his arm got a little stronger. But he did a great job for us last year, and against very good teams, and threw for over 900 yards in the 6 games that we played, and like 8 touchdowns, and that was with a limited preseason, and he didn't, had to learn a lot fast, and he did a great job with that. So I'm expecting big things from him. Brian Haddow this will be his 3rd year starting both ways for us, and he started at free safety and running back, which are two kind of crucial positions in our system. He's done a great job. He's one of the best open field tacklers that I've coached. And he also is, a very good runner. He's a very competitive kid. And he's been all division in 2 different divisions that we were in as a running back last 2 years.
Oh, he was an all division kid his sophomore year too?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think he did it as running backs. I think he might even be a better free safety at times. So he's a good football player. And then Zach Seawright would be our tight end, and he's kind of a late bloomer, but he's a 6'5" kid, 6'5", 225, with really good ball skills. And he's kind of caught some coaches' eyes and camps and 7-on-7s this summer. So I think he's going to have a good year for us. Um, Adam Conklin will be one of our captains, and he's like 6'4", 297, and he got so much stronger this off season. Really, worked out. It kind of lost some baby fat and got stronger, more confident. And I think he'll do a really good job on the offensive line. We lost Ian Keefe already. He had an ACL injury in like our summer workouts. Got kind of two guys just went up for a ball and came down funny on it, which is a shame. He was our fastest kid, and I'm expecting big things from him this year. It's too bad.
Coach's nightmare. Yeah.
Yeah. We've got a few other guys that I think will step up and kind of got a lot of time last year. Levi Wilson who's got good speed. Lucas Serbo, David Mason, Derek Soto are all guys that I think can be good players for us. Connor Clark is a guy who's worked really hard and gotten stronger. Jacinto Lopez started for us as a freshman 2 years ago. He's going to be a junior this year, and he had 7 sacks as a freshman.
What position is he?
Jacinto Lopez.
Yeah,
and he played defensive end, and he's going to play offensive tackle for us this year as well. He kind of would like to play tight end, but we have a little bit more depth at the tight end spot than we do, at the offensive line. So he's going to be a team guy and help us out that way. He's got some people looking at him. He filled out a lot this year. He was like, first time he was like 6'4", probably about 205, and now he's, close to 6'5" and like about 240 something pounds, and got him's all in a good way. He gotten stronger, and he's a 3-sport athlete, and I think he's gonna eventually be a Division I player.
Now, Coach, I got a question for you, because when you were at college, you were recruiting, and us high school coaches would have to put the best product of guys out in the field. There are times we have to put our best fullback at line. Now, you as a college coach, you're still going to recruit those kids. If they're bowlers, they're bowlers. But wouldn't you evaluate a kid differently and say, he's a team player, so that's checking off the box, where you're questioning, is the kid a team player, right? Because in high school, a lot of kids are playing at different positions.
Right. And it's tough, and it's sometimes hard for those coaches to project a kid to a different position without seeing him play that spot. But they'll still recruit the kids that knowing that they're a team player, and at the highest levels it's harder to because they got to project them. That what they probably would want to do is get them in their camp, and try to see them, put them in those positions, and try to evaluate them that way, where they can get a look at them. But there's a lot of big time college players that played other positions when they were coming up.
There's a lot of Division III players that are probably the best players on the team, but yet other guys went Division I on the team, but they were the guard that was 205, 5'9",
Right.
5'10", and they're the reasons why you won championships.
Absolutely.
Those are the type of players that are fun to coach, because they
and then you even get a lot of guys that maybe aren't even going on to play, but they do great. We're great high school players for you too. That's important to have, because it's hard to have 22 guys. So these other guys got to fill all those spots and do a good job. And but there can be a lot of really good high school football players that are not, it's hard for parents and sometimes to understand that they're not going to be Division I players, just because so much of it is based on size and speed. These coaches are afraid to make a mistake. It's their livelihood. They recruit the wrong guys. They're going to lose their job. And, so they're afraid to take the smaller or a little bit slower guy, even though he's maybe a really good football player. So it's kind of too bad, but that's where you get a lot of the guys at Division III. And I tell our kids when they're going to Division III, I said, you got to understand now, everybody going there is good, and they're all going to be good players. And the ones that hang in there are going to end up playing.
And I always tell my guys is that these college coaches want to listen to the head coaches or their coaches, not other people, because ultimately you have them the whole year in the classroom, on the field. You know more about them, not what I like to call agents out there. Those, the 7-on-7
Absolutely, yeah.
agents and all that stuff.
I tell my guys too. You don't need any recruiting service or anything. You know, they're just taking your money. And when I was like Syracuse and things too, we didn't want to hear from those guys. Because they're getting paid for what they're doing, and we wanted to hear from the coaches and what they were doing, and then ultimately, you're watching them on film and you're evaluating them yourself too. But you got to hear from the coach more than that too.
Oh yeah, yeah. Anytime you're paying somebody, they're going to definitely say how good a person is, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So with that, Coach, this was awesome. I really appreciate you coming on here and talking Middletown North football. Loved hearing about your 39-year career. What a great career, and it's still going. You have great stories at stops you're at. You've been successful everywhere you are, and you're successful at Middletown North, and you're going to be very, very competitive this season. We all know that. Looking back at your career, is there anything that you ever regretted, or you are just proud of it?
Yeah, I mean, I think as a coach, you're always critical of things you did, and I tell the kids after we lose a game, we all got to look in the mirror. I look in the mirror and say, what could I have done better? And I think that they need to do that, and I need to do that as a coach all the time too. And so there's some regrets and things you have, maybe about a play call or whatever it may be, or thing in the upper levels is the whole job thing is a touchy thing. So, I had a great run. I'm very fortunate to have had the opportunities that I've had, and had a lot of great experiences, met a lot of great people.
Coach, as coaches, we harp on that game that we lost at the last seconds, and it kills us. But we also probably, in your 39 years, you probably won a lot of those type of games too. So the coaches on the other side it just happens.
Sure.
The luck of the draw happens, more times than not, hopefully on your side than the other side. But you have some great connections here for your program at Middletown North, and also for the Shore Conference too. Having you in the Shore Conference just draws those guys closer for other programs too. That's the way recruiting goes and all that stuff. So again, I appreciate you coming on this show. I'm going to be posting this tomorrow morning with you guys. So your community will have it. It'll be all over social media. You'll have it. And, I'll be covering football on the shorefootballreport.com for your program and everybody in the Shore Conference. And hopefully I can make things fun, because I know you're going to make it fun on the field. And there's a lot of great things in the Shore Conference. Coach, now the last thing, you've been at many different stops. What's unique about the Shore Conference that the other places that you coach high school didn't have?
I think it's kind of neat that the Shore has its own entity, and the media and things in the area does a good job, kind of covering that and promoting that, and I think it's a nice place to live and grow up around in here, and you have a lot of other things going on. It's very convenient to a lot, and it's good football, and there's good coaches throughout the Shore Conference. So you've got to be prepared, and you've got to do a good job coaching every single week. And I think I think football in New Jersey is generally better than some other states, that just from recruiting experience and coaching in different states and things too. But it's not that there's not good players everywhere, but I think the coaches throughout the state are pretty good, and work hard at it.
There's a lot of parity in the Shore Conference from top to bottom. There really is. So when you want to figure out a game you could play, maybe a non-conference or whatever, who am I playing? Unless you say, I'm going to play a very competitive game. There's no gimme games out there. There's none at all. Everybody's coaching and doing the right stuff. And I guess that makes it what Shore Conference is exciting for fans. It really is.
Absolutely.
Coach, if there's anything I could do for you in the future, you know where I'm at. In the meantime, keep going after it, man, and make this season another fun, enjoyable season for your community. And best of luck to you guys this season.
Thanks a lot, Rob. I appreciate what you're doing. I think it's great.
Thank you very much, Coach.